right, ladies and gentlemen, apparently I already went to the wrong screen because I'm so good at my job. You set things up and then you still do it wrong, apparently. We'll fix that real quick, ladies and gentlemen. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, I am Joseph the Voice, and this is my first time doing production here for Great Lakes Esports, and I'm hanging out with the lovely Braave and Bub here, the founders of Great Lakes CRL. Looking forward to talking to you two and getting some good insight. Last time, we had the privilege of being able to talk to Graybeard. This time, I got the privilege to be able to talk to the founders. And I'm really looking forward to getting some good information about how we got to this point. I mean, it started as an inkling, it started as a thought, and it turned into much more than that. It has become a fruition that has continued to grow. And like I said, it started off with us hanging out and playing some cars together, at least for me. Playing some rocket cars together. But how did it start for you? Let's start with Braave. Braave, how did this journey of Great Lakes Esports get started?
Yeah, so pretty much kind of the background story of like when we really started doing what we wanted to do was we're actually working with the company that you do streaming for casting and production, which is AOE Esports. So I guess there's a little plug for them. But from that, we were trying to run online tournaments to gain more exposure for AOE Esports so that they could do more and more things. And then through that, we got a bunch of colleges signed up. We wanted to make it a collegiate kind of aspect in a tournament, and that was running through the summer. We ran it, good success, a lot of good turnout. We made it so that we could probably add a prize pool at the next one, and we had a bunch of people excited to kind of return and do it again. But unfortunately, it just wasn't in the cards of the owners for AOE. They just didn't see kind of the value and the fruition of doing these online tournaments within the college scene because they're more targeted towards high schools. They ended up not wanting to pursue it any further. So then, that kind of tailored off. I didn't really do much anything else, and there was nothing really going on in the space. But when we ran those tournaments, I brought Bub on to help with the production side of things because I'm more operation orientated, business orientated. So we brought Bub on. He helped with the production, and then as it kind of didn't continue, I think about a month or two went by. Bub sent me a message. He said, "Hey, I want to still keep this going. I enjoyed it. I found it a lot of fun." And I think the players did too. And, I saw the value in it because I saw the numbers, I saw the metrics of where we could go. And then I think, I'm not sure exactly Bub's side of it, but I think he just really enjoyed kind of the production, the casting, and bringing these schools together. So his idea to, reach out to me, say, "Hey, let's do this." And then, we agreed, like, yeah, let's do it. We went into a summer of continuous planning. I think we did 2-3 months worth of planning, made a Discord, kind of just was like, all right, we're these younger students. We were both still in college. I'm still in college. He's still in college. We're just college students that were like, how do we get our name out there? We never done anything like this at a larger scale. We've done this
Right.
one tournament that was 8 teams
Right.
at a couple colleges. And I think we had 1 or 2 teams that were just these random teams that we picked up. I think one of them was Hot Sauce Packet or something like that. It was just a random team name, and it was just they went pretty far actually in the tournament. But so we had to prove how are 2 kind of college students going to really make something happen. So I told Bob, I was like, we're probably gonna have to do this first year completely free. We're not gonna be able to charge a membership fee. We're not gonna be able to charge anybody to come into our league. It's gonna be completely out of pocket. What does that number look like? And it was about $3,000. So if you just divide that in half, right, you're looking at $1,500 each just to get a league off the ground and running. And that wasn't even the largest number that we could have went to, because we had an awesome cast and producers and a league management team that came in and did a lot of stuff for completely free. So the entire year, we had an awesome team that backed us throughout the entire process. I think, Joe, you came on during
January, if I remember right.
Was it? So the start of
December,
spring?
January area.
I think it was the second event we ever ran.
So end of, so fall, and then, so you came on, and that was one of the things. It's you joined the team, you knew kind of the assignment of hey, we're trying to do this. We're not, super established in the industry yet. Nobody really has the trust or believes in us, but you believe in us. Give us that opportunity, give us that trust. We'll prove to you that this is going to be something great. And through that, we had a team. We picked up Philly along the way, CapEx, you know.
I mean,
who else do we have?
Let me hold you off for a second real quick, because I want to ask Bub a question, because I know we're talking about a lot of the building up to what got us obviously to this point. But one thing that I really want to bring up is because we're talking about odd end tournaments that you guys had like performed in and stuff like that. And if I remember correctly, if we really want to talk about the origin story of Great Lakes and how it really got started, it started with two guys just kind of meeting each other at a LAN, if I remember correctly.
Oh man.
And it's one of these odd end type of LANs, kind of like what we've created here in that type of atmosphere. So Bub, I know you love telling this story because I know you've told me before. Fill in our audience a little bit on how you guys kind of met and how that friendship kind of grew to be able to even get to that point where you felt confident reaching out to Braave and saying, hey, let's take this leap of faith and take this next step.
I mean, if you want to go back to the origin for like when I met Braave, we both used to compete at two different schools. Sort of still do. I still compete for Indiana Tech. He competed for Lawrence Tech. Now he's with Rochester Christian. And we met through there. And we actually went to the conference championship, and that's where I actually got to meet Braave in person. And then from there, we just kept talking. I mean, we played Rocket League a lot together, got to know each other pretty well. He reached out to me that summer that he mentioned where he was like, hey, I know you've been involved in Rocket League for a while. Can we do anything? Is there anything we can do?
And I knew you were in production stuff too. I knew you like to do the production value. So I was like, it kind of just fit like a good glove, right? Like, we both met in Rocket League. I was more business oriented. He was more production. So it was like really worked out nice.
Yep, did a lot of independent casting back in the day, and then kind of transitioned over to Great Lakes once we decided, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna take this project on, and we're gonna move forward with it. And I mean, here we are today. We're in April 2024, and I mean, I couldn't be happier for where we are now, and I'm just excited for what the future looks like. But
no, absolutely.
Yeah, Brave and I started as competitors.
I mean, it's crazy too, because I was talking to one of Brave's friends earlier today. And I was telling him, I've known Brave for about a year. And he goes, well, when did you guys meet? And I was like, January, or not January. I was like, I believe originally it was December of 22 is when we first actually started talking. January is when I originally like came on and really started doing more. And I was like, he was like, that's not a year, bro. That's more than a year. I was like, yeah, it's like a year and a half actually. So, I mean, time definitely flies and continues to grow. And talking about growing, harnessing and harboring a community is definitely something, and getting good, reliable people that can be a part of your staff, be a part of your team, and help grow that. I know Brave started talking a little bit about that already. We're talking about some of the additions after, I came on, Philly came on around the exact same time. Since then, we've seen a lot of fluctuating talent that have came in. Some have left us, some have came back. If you want to fill in, Bob, a little bit on some of that talent that we've been able to accrue here for at least CRL, and then we'll bounce back over to Brave and we could talk a little bit more about the growth and some of the visions that we have to grow out CRL and even grow out our esports all in itself, because I know we have a lot more up the pipeline as well. So Bob, why don't you talk to us a little bit about that?
I mean, we started in December. I believe it was like a 3 or 4 man crew, and that was about it for production. And Brave was running the operations side pretty much solo. I think it was me, Synth, Azazel, and if I remember right, CapEx came around either in January or late December. Since then,
can't forget CJ.
Oh yeah,
CJ from Lawrence Tech. He was on. He was on for one event. One event.
I think he did the very first game with me. And then he stuck around a little bit throughout the day, and it was a fun experience. I mean,
right out of his college dorm.
Yep, right out of the dorm. But yeah, I mean, we started with like a 4-man crew, and it was exhausting. That was the first time that we'd ever taken anything onto that scale. I mean, we're running a Swiss stage out of a Google Sheet, reporting scores in Discord because like, we've never done anything like this before. It was a huge learning experience. And I remember thinking afterwards, I'm like, man, this took years off my life. And then as we went along, I remember getting recommended to talk to you, JTV, about, being a host, and that worked beautifully. And I think that's one of the greatest decisions that we've made here at Great Lakes CRL. Picked up Philly along the way. If I remember right, we watched him on a qualifier stream. He was casting Cleary halfway through, and we just randomly decided, we're going to throw him on. And Philly shot me a message afterwards and goes, did you guys really do that? And that
Yeah,
was
I mean,
when,
yeah, like I remember because Apollo, Nathan Benton, he reached out and he was like, hey, we're doing a stream here, and if you want to check it out, you can. Because I always like watching every POV, if like the school is showing off their qualify. I enjoy that stuff because not only am I like taking what analytics we have on our Twitch and like I'm looking at those numbers, but I'm also looking at like everybody's stream. Like 11's usually streams us all the time, and he gets about 10, and that's great because that's exposure for us. Another thing that too is like Byra streams us, and it keeps going on and on. Like these different people highlight what we're doing here. So it's great, and like that's why like I tuned into Cleary's, and this caster is actually not that bad. Like he seems like he knows what he's talking about. He seems confident in it, and he was doing it alone. Like there was nobody else backing him up. Like it was literally just a solo cast. So once I saw that, I reached out to Apollo. I said, you think Philly would be interested in doing something with us, a little bit of a step up? And again, it came back to like we can't pay, but we can give that experience, and like you can be along the way with as we grow. You grow as a person too, and like you can use us as a stepping stone, because that's what we're kind of looking to do right now, is give a good lead up stepping stone for all of our casters. So that was great seeing Philly, but that's the background of how Philly got involved. Bub, keep on going on.
And fun fact about Philly, and Brave knows this too, he was also a competitor against us back then in 2021. That's when we both met Philly. He played for Clear University at the time, and I think right after that he moved towards casting once that season ended. But yeah, just randomly threw him on stream. Philly shot a message, Brave already mentioned that, and next thing you know, Philly's here, and he's kind of been a pillar on the production side for us.
Absolutely. If you want real quick, I know I'm generally the host, and I try to reside not being the guy who's talking a bunch, but I guess I should take a moment before we move forward, because we joined around the same time, to kind of talk about how I got here. So,
go ahead.
So everybody is aware, I've been a part of the esports scene since probably 2016, 2017, give or take. I was in a position in my life where I was working front of house marketing for the Milwaukee Admirals. I was also working at a butcher shop up the street. I was just, making odd ends to kind of make what's that next decision I want to make in life. I have a marketing background. I'm a certified audio engineer by trade. And these are things that, it's just a passion of mine to be a part of media and be a part of production. It's something I've been a part of for years. But back in about 2017, I became the manager of Not Your Parents' Basement Gaming Lounge located in Racine, Wisconsin. We had the privilege of being able to house 3 high schools in our first year. We had Case High School, we had Horlick High School, we had Park High School, all come and get housed underneath our unit to be able to kind of help coach and delegate. And I had the pleasure of being able to coach the Rocket League team, so I immediately got my in just because I knew the game more than everybody else. I promise you, I did not know that much. I was learning more from the students than I knew myself. So esports in itself is one of those things where it's a lot of give and take. We got to learn as much as we give in return as we're taking from it. So for me, it was a lot of back and forth, and I learned. And then going into the next year, I was asked by the director of Racing Unified at that time, do you want to become a head coach for one of the high schools? And at that time, we were looking to house 2 more high schools, and I looked right at him and I said, I can't take that position. I said, I have no problem helping out your schools, but I'm not going to take a position and then make it be perceived as a bias that I'm only helping one singular school when I can make a greater impact helping all the schools. So going into the second year, we took on 2 more schools. We had Real School, we had Walden come on, and now we have 5 schools that were housed. I still became the interim head coach of that school anyways, which ended up being Park High School. I ended up becoming the coach for Overwatch and Super Smash Brothers, 2 games that I really didn't know anything about. And it was a lot of a growing experience of me asking my friends that knew about these games, asking the kids that knew about these games, and really that back and forth. My JV team went 5-2. Our varsity team made playoffs. Unfortunately, we got knocked out, but we fought really hard that year. And knowing that I was able to bring so much value to these kids and bring so much up, insight and just upscale to them, to be able to let them see that next level of what they can do with themselves, made me really happy. And from doing that, and led into me getting further involved with esports, starting to talk to colleges. I got involved with the WCRL, and the WCRL ended up getting in contact with you guys. And that's where the journey kind of became, where I ended up leaving WCRL at the time. We were kind of at an indifference at the time. And you guys were really honestly pitching me the idea of perceived value of what can really happen, what we can do. and where things can really go. And you guys had the vision of multiple titles down the road. You guys had the vision of executing the right way, not just taking on a bunch, but let's make sure that we take it one step at a time, you know. And we got CRL down really well, and after we started getting CRL down really well, I said, hey, let's up the value. You know, we can do a lot more to add production. We started talking about podcasts, we started talking about high school showcase nights, we started talking about community nights and giveaways, which, guys, we got giveaways coming. So I mean, there's a lot of cool things that, you know, I think people can get really excited about and want to be here and be a part of. And for me, that's why I like being, honestly, you guys have given me a driver's seat that I never thought I'd have, in terms of being able to drive content, talk about, you know, my mission, my drive for JTV Entertainment, which I rarely ever talk about during, you know, Great Lakes CRL stuff at all. I never really talk about what JTV Entertainment really does and harnesses for this community. And a lot of that, you know, Eternal on the back end, helping create spreadsheets, helping us work through all these different documentations for even our websites, whatever it might be. That guy knows coding really well. I mean, you know, the other people like Timmy that's came in and helped me, or just my team in general. You know, we've had to ask Blaze. Blaze has been a part of our team, and then he kind of moved on to do statistician over at WCRL. So all of these guys that are coming in, they're continuing to move forward and create more opportunity for Great Lakes, and that's what makes me most excited. Is it's not just me, it's my team working to execute to bring this to the next level, and you guys have given me that platform. So I think I've spoken enough, and I think I can pass over the baton for the moment, but I'm gonna let Bub pick this one back up real quick, and you can kind of, you know, talk a little bit more about some of the staffing that we've done, and then like I said, I'll pass it back on over to Brave, and Brave can talk about what's that next step of the journey here for Great Lakes.
Yeah, for CRL, I mean, I mentioned before that we picked up CapEx, and JTV's brought in. I mean, you've mentioned, we didn't even mention X-Ray, who's still a caster with us to this day, as well as Red Flame.
Red Flame too.
Red Flame came on for I believe it was a panel midway through the season, and now sits on our ops staff.
Yep.
You look further down the line. I mean, this year we've seen guys like Jar come in. We saw Rocket Star recently. Tibbles has been here.
Zen Zero.
Zen Zero. I mean, you can't forget about him.
It's Scrimby.
Just been, yeah, can't forget Scrimby. He was the OG. He started, I think it was the second event he came in alongside you, JTV. He came in as well and really helped us take that next step. And yeah, CRL, fast forwarding now to where we are today, we're almost done with season 2. Don't forget, May 4th, be either here on Twitch, or you can come out to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and check out the season 2 LAN championship there.
Potentially win yourself a gaming chair.
That
May
too,
the
yeah.
4th be with you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we're here, we're getting through year 2, and frankly, I mean, I could go on for hours and hours about how proud we are to be where we are to this day, but I'm not going to take up 50 minutes of everybody's day just to sit here and listen to me ramble. So, Brave, if you want to go ahead and talk about what's in the future, or if you have anything else to say, go ahead.
I mean, I'll talk for 50 minutes, like my mom said. When it's my time to talk, people are going to listen to me.
Real quick, I want to give a nod of the hat to Nick. For coming in, Nick Production, for coming in and helping add more value to our back end for our production as well. Because yes, I can run production, I can be a producer on a podcast night, but guys, if you guys want me to be a good host, and these guys already know this, Brave and Bub already know that, they know I can't be in the driver's seat clicking all these buttons, switching everything around. I mean, you guys saw, I made a poor scene change just to start out already. I went live on the wrong channel. You guys didn't even need to know that, but I went live on the wrong channel. So, but it's fun to just be in a position where I can try different things, do different things, bring on different staff. But Brave, like Bub was saying, I mean, the next step of the journey, I mean, we've been talking about a little here already, you know, in weeks leading up to this, that Valorant is a title that we are going to be offering. And it's definitely something we've already been reaching out to colleges. We've been talking to them. We've been doing some more onboarding, trying to get some additional staff to help house that as well. I mean, Brave, bring it to me. Tell me what's going on there, so we get a better idea of what's happening with the Valorant edition this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'll cover on that too, but then I also want to do a little backtracking, because I think, you know, we're kind of speeding through a little bit, but I think some of the things that I want to bring to light is kind of, you know, why we're even doing what we're doing today. Like, because there's so many times where we could easily look at what we're doing and say, hey, like, you know, this is what everybody else is doing. This is mainstream media almost. And like, there's so much rich culture that we have of why we're even doing what we're doing. So, you know, I'll answer the Valorant question, but I think we should do a little backpedaling and really answer, like, you know, why are we doing what we're doing in the capacity of which we're doing it in? Because I mean, there's so many leagues out there. It's like, why would you even want to pick us over another league, or why put your trust in me, a 24-year-old Bub? I believe you're 24 as well, and then, you know, Joseph was our host, which is a little bit older,
32 years old.
So it's like, you know, why, you know, I still want to talk about like why put trust in us, what, you know, our culture. So, you know, yeah, we're rolling out Valorant. We finally feel after 2 years that we're in the position where we can really take that leap. You know, one of the things you mentioned, Joe, was we don't like to do what every other league does. We don't want to shotgun these titles at you. I've had many people ask me, it's like, well, why don't you do all the titles under the sun? Like, if people are like, we want this title, why don't you do the title? And I always tell them the same thing, is like, because I don't want to not hit the metrics that I want to see hit. Like, I don't want to just say, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it half-assed, you know, pardon my French, maybe I can't use the A word, but, you know, I'm not going to do it, you know, half-heartedly. If we're going to do something, we're going to do it to the best of our ability, right? So we've set up that culture, we set up that standard, we have a mission, we have a vision, we have our values, that the only time I feel ready to step away and allow it to be ran, like Bub took the commissioner position of Great Lakes CRL. He is now the top of the totem pole for that division. He runs it, he sees it, but he knows our mission, our vision, and our values of where we want to see CRL. So then that goes on to like CVAL. I've put somebody in position that actually goes to the school that I'm attending. He's a great guy. He works with 100 Thieves. He is in some type of collaboration. So he has a good connection source. And now it's just getting him to know, like, okay, what's our mission, what's our vision, and what's our values, so that he can be at the top of that totem pole and really, you know, do super well, and to make sure that we don't stumble or falter in what our true mission is at Great Lakes Esports. So, you know, we're finally in that position where we're comfortable. I've moved up to the parent company where now I can kind of oversee the growth, and I have great people, you know, very capable people that I can trust in to do their position as commissioners, to ensure that those mission and vision and values are upheld and people are still experiencing the best possible college experience. I mean, that's our slogan, the true collegiate experience. I don't want to sit here and have students say, hey, I remember that LAN, or I remember this league I played in, and they graduate college and they kind of just, you know, whatever, like, I forget about it, I'm moving on, it's whatever, it happened, great, I had fun. I want them to be like, no, I played college esports and I remember this league, I remember this LAN I went to, because it has so much enriching value to it. The company that did it was so customer obsessed that I can't forget what happened, because it was so great. And I've had many tournaments like that in my traditional sports, where it's like, I still remember tournaments 3-4 years ago where I was like, this was so much fun. Like, I had a great time, and it solely started with the team and the organization that ran that tournament. And I don't see that passion or drive in esports currently. I look at these other leagues and I'm like, do they really care? Or are they just kind of in it because they see the dollar signs and they want to, there's really nothing else out there, so they just give a format for these kids to play in. And I've had conversation with directors as well, and they're like, all LANs suck. They're all horrible, because you don't get people out. You don't, like my saying, you don't get butts in seats, and it doesn't sell. The college students don't really care. They're just like, you know, this is great, I'm going to probably win money. Or they kind of get upset about it because, you know, one of our staples is, and it's due to this reasoning, is professional teams or really good pro players will just show up to these LANs and farm them. And you're like, okay, I'm a true college student, and I just, you know, I'm making sure that my grades are good. And I'm not saying that these pro players aren't doing the same, but it's like, you know, as a college student, you're more invested in like, what's my degree? Where am I going after this? I know I don't have a future pro, or maybe you do and you're aspiring to it. But once you reach that threshold, you shouldn't be a college competitor. Like, that's your line. And once that line is hit, you know, we've always talked about Cam hit that line. Congratulations.
First player to do it mid-season.
You know, now you're a professional. You don't go back. You stay as a professional.
Brave, I just want to ask you a question real quick, because I mean, I don't feel you're bringing enough passion in your statement right now. I feel like you're withholding a little. I'm just joking, but I mean, you talk about these values, talk about these morals, and you talk about this mission statement. Obviously, like, I'm gonna give my nod to the hat to Cam. Congratulations. But what I really want to talk about is our mission statement. You know, the reason why I want to ask you about Valorant first is because I knew you were going to give me a beautiful alley-oop for me to talk about what is next and how we can talk about and bring our value and showcase our value more, because to me that is the most important thing. We talked about, like I said, high school showcase matches, we talked about community nights, we talked about giveaways and things like that, and that's some stuff that we can do to add additional value. But why don't you break it down for people a little bit further and help them understand what is our mission statement here at Great Lakes Esports?
So do you want me to give you the red word for word mission that we got? Because I mean, we have a staff handbook that we hand out to every staff member we have, because we want them to know exactly word for word what we're doing here. So I think probably the best thing to do is, I know it's going to be a little bit monotone. It's just going to be kind of like a thing. No,
hear me out.
You know,
I want you to take the rule book and I want you to throw it over your shoulder, and I want you to speak it from the heart, because you know what you wrote down. If you're missing a line, it's not the end of the world. But I want you to speak it from heart, because honestly, that's what people want to see. The reason why we're here talking about the origin story, because they want to see the raw passion that you guys, you know, exude from yourselves and why we're doing this. I mean, Bub's literally, if you look at Bub almost this whole time, he's just been like a glowing little angel this whole time, just so happy and giddy, and like,
it's the hair.
It is.
Hey, the hair helps. The hair
real
helps.
Slim Shady's officially stood up.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Hey,
I guess, you know, I figured I kind of pretty much touched on it previously when we were talking about kind of like why we didn't go and just like shotgun all these titles. Right, our mission is to make the true collegiate experience. Our mission is to not have professional players. It's to change the funnel. You know, right now the funnel is kind of backwards, but even at that, it's kind of like it's an hourglass funnel. Like, players go high school and then sometimes skip college and go straight pro, like, you know, Daniel from RLCS, or they go high school, pro, back to high school, college, pro, back to. It's so messed up. It's not like high school, college, pro. It's not a funnel. Nobody, and you can't really care. So like, that's one of our missions, is like, we want to have the true collegiate experience. We want to develop the skills. We want to make these college students the best college students they can be, and we want to give them the opportunity to do that. And that's why we are not a typical weekly league that most leagues that you see is we want to make sure that these college students are excelling in the classroom first, and then they're excelling on the pitch or in the whatever battle arena would be for Valorant. I don't know. I don't really play the game. That's why I got a commissioner set in place, because I don't know the game. So it's like, that's our mission. Our you know, our mission is to foster a community-driven engagement. Like, and that's one of the things, like, we are so customer obsessed that we want to see people talking about us even after.
This almost gives us a great caveat. If you think about it, we're talking about ways that we invest in the community and things that we're looking to do. Like, I'm pretty sure we're looking to have not just external, which is like stream community nights, but we're looking to have internal nights as well. So Discord community nights, we're having movie nights, we're having, you know, game nights, or we're hanging out and we're just having fun together. And we're seeing it time and time again where you'll see 5-10 different people in a call hanging out. They might be playing some different games, but a bunch of them are still playing games together, and we're all just kind of shooting the breeze. So I mean, talk a little bit about that kind of stuff that you guys are talking about, bringing some additional value in those areas as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some of those things too, like, yeah, we're currently doing them, but there's still a lot of implementation that I would like to see in those community nights and like our stream that we do. Like, we did, you know, community night a while back ago, and then we do a little bit of here and there community night in our Discord. You know, I want to see a little bit more coming from our community managers in that aspect. And I think I had a good talk with them. Like, over the summer, we're going to be doing a lot more fun stuff. Like you said, movie nights more regularly, doing some different game nights, like probably, you know, playing some Lethal Company or like other kind of massive multiplayer games, or just kind of these one-off fun things that if you missed a night, you're not going to like miss the storyline. It's just like, we're just having fun as a community. And, you know, when you talk about like what we're doing in the sense of Great Lakes Esports to drive our community forward, it's not all just talking and saying, hey, our community, like, we're going to be doing these fun things, they're free for you, and it just gives you a sense of community for different colleges that maybe you don't get to regularly see. But additionally, we're offering free lands to these colleges. Like, we are not, if you are a member of our organization, you get additional free, I guess, stuff, like free. There's no additional charge. So it's like, we have a LAN in October, we have a LAN in March, which actually just got moved to April. It's in planning, and then we have another LAN that's in February. Like, we have 3 LANs coming up, And not a single one of those am I going to charge an additional fee to my members, because we'll put the work in. Great Lakes Esports and everyone that's within it or resides in it, we will put the effort in to get sponsors. We will put the effort into raise those additional funds that we need to make it that memorable experience. I'm not going to sit there and tell my bread and butter, my community, to say, hey, you got to pay me a little bit more. No, you already paid me enough. And if you look at our pricing, it's $400 for a basic fee, it's $700 for a premier, and it's $1,000 for a partner package. And inside of those, you get a lot of different cool value metrics. But then you get additional free lands where you don't have to pay. Just get your team there, travel, get a hotel. Like, so much cool, fun stuff. Like, you know, I'll give a little teaser to the land that's going to happen in April. It'll be, you know, it's a Wichita, Kansas. It's a 200,000 square foot BlizzCon style event where these colleges just come for free. Don't pay us another dollar. Get yourselves out there, you know, save the budget to get yourselves there. Because what, $250 could really save you that money to even get to this event. And then just have fun, make memories, you know, do something that's going to be cool and that lasts you a lifetime. Don't do something that you're going to like, yeah, that was okay. Do something that you're going to really care about. And even as a director, I say, find something, even if it's not us, find a league that you can be very proud of for your school. You know, whether it's us, whether it's somebody else, like find a league that you're going to be super proud of, and that's going to actually come and approach you in a manner that's respectful, and that they have these value metrics of, you know, customer obsession, loyalty, you know, everything that we have listed. Find somebody like that and ride a good partnership with them for as long as possible, because you're not always going to see somebody come around that's going to do that. So give the best experience to your college students. Find that metric. You know, don't just go into esports if you are a new director, or if you're an old director, don't get either A, stuck in your way, or B, just do what the general norm is doing. Find something that works for you and find something that works for your students, and make that change, or don't, but find what works.
No, absolutely.
And that goes right into our vision at Great Lakes Esports. It's like, I personally, and I think it speaks volumes for all of us, we do not care if at the end of the day, if these bigger leagues with massive budgets finally see what we're doing here at Great Lakes, causing some ripples, making changes, and we have these value metrics that are like completely centric around our customers and our members. And if they change their ways of like not allowing professional players, changing the norm of it's actually true collegiate, offering these free lands, making this value metrics even bigger and better for their members, and that puts us under as Great Lakes Esports, and none of us are doing what we're doing here today, we don't care. We're in it for the customer. We're in it for the members. We're in it for the industry to change the narrative. So, you know, we can name drop like NACE. If NACE changes what they're doing and creates such a strong value metric for their customers and their members, and it completely tanks us, oh well, I'm happy. I changed the narrative. I'm sure I'll be hired on somewhere else because we're the ones that pioneered it. Joe, you'll get hired on somewhere else because you're the one that helped pioneer it. And Bub, we'll all get hired on somewhere else because they're like, you guys did something that caused a massive change in the industry. We want you to stay on. So it's like, if that doesn't speak that, you know, we're not in it for the money, we're in it to see the industry go the right way, I don't know what else is going to kind of convince people that's like, you know, put some trust in us.
Absolutely.
See it through, right? Like, we're here for quality. I even saw Philly say, you know, quality over the quality comes before quantity. Like 100%, we all agree that we're not going to shotgun you with all these different games. We want to make sure that they're right, they're good, that you're loving what we're doing, and it's not just like, it was okay.
I mean, even in addition to that, I mean, we do some really fun things to add even additional value on top of that. I mean, we have Lake Talk, we do our Shoreline Spotlight, we do highlights for schools and players, and we're trying to get more and more of that into effect moving forward. So there's a lot of stuff that we're doing to create and add that additional value that we're all really looking for. So, I mean, this is definitely a harbor and community where we are definitely striving to make a difference. I mean, myself, I am a director of esports right now. I work with young kids, middle school, high school level, and my vision is to help them get involved with esports at a younger age, get on these, you know, stages where they can make a name for themselves and they can make a presence out in esports, and you guys allow that presence to be able to happen. And then we talk about, you know, professionals coming in and playing. No, I don't know any other professional, you know, player that can come back and play in college after they've made it to the pro level. You go and you look at NFL, MLB, NHL, you know, MLS, any of that. all of them, once you go pro, there's no going back at that point. If you're going to go to college, you're going to college to get your degree at that point. You're not going back to farm the system, to just own everybody because you feel that you can. That's not how it should work. I mean, respect you for being really good at your craft, but go play with the pros. Go play with the other, the other people who are at that level, and leave the kids that are still striving to just kind of have fun and want to be a part of an experience and build towards an education for themselves alone. Because that's not fair that those kids that are putting in, 40, 60-hour school weeks, plus another like 20, 30-hour practice weeks. I don't even know how many hours are in a week, but their sleep is like this, and everything else is like this. So it's like, I mean, I've been a college student. I've done that life, and I had multiple jobs, at school until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, all that stuff. And I mean, it's exhausting to say the least, and that's why we want to be able to harbor a community where you can come, have fun, lay back, enjoy even your off day. There might be something fun going on, and then once you start getting these other leagues rolled out, it'll only create more and amplify our efforts even further. We'll be able to do more with that. So, being able to say that we're helping to really create change in esports, I think, is the very simplest form of saying it. But I mean, Bub, is there anything else that you really want to say before we kind of start to wrap it up here for the night?
At the end of the day, you guys have talked about it a lot. The goal is to change the mentality, to change the industry, and Braave has mentioned that ad nauseum here in the last like 10 minutes. And we've had, and I won't say names, but we have had directors come up to us and be like, "Hey, you guys are fighting the good fight. You're doing the right thing." That's all we ask. I mean, that's all we want to do, is we want to change the way things are going. And even if you want to look at some of the other pros, no pun intended when I say pros, you remove those players who have, for Rocket League, for example, you remove the players who have professional RLCS experience. Do you not realize how much more competition that opens up for those players who are also very, very good at the college level, but can't quite get over the hump yet? That gives more development for those players to go pro. That opens that pathway a little more, and it clears the log jams. So there's so many positives that you can get out of just defining what is pro and saying that this is where they are. And again, there is absolutely no disrespect towards pros. The hours that those players put in and the amount of time and effort. And I mean, you've seen how many pro stories, them up 40, 50, 60 hours a week, grinding away, trying to figure out how to understand and optimize their game. I have so much respect for players who do that, but at the same time, there are college students who are trying to get an education, but also might have that dream to get to that next level, and this could be their stepping stone. And I mean, I'm sure there's more than a few players out there who feel like their careers have stagnated because of that shit.
Yeah. And I think my biggest gripe is, like if you look at Maryville, right? They brought in Luminosity for their Overwatch 2 team. Mm-hmm. How many, Bub, you said a lot of these college students, like, they might be looking to go to this next level, but they need some type of support. How many, if we, I don't need an answer, but it's like, if we had to guesstimate, how many scholarships did that team take away from potential students that maybe aren't that skill level? But this Luminosity team they don't care about the scholarship you just gave. You're just now making it so that their promotional deals that they get and their endorsement deals are just full straight cash in their pocket. And you probably just turned away 10, 15 students you could have gave a partial ride to because you wanted to give full rides to this full Overwatch team that doesn't really need the cash. And that's my argument to when people say, well, pros are struggling too for college. It's like, no, they have endorsement deals. They have other avenues that if they wish to actually explore, they would be fine. It doesn't take much to be a college student if you're getting a partial ride.
Yep.
Because you have endorsement deals. You don't need a full ride. You don't need to go shop around. There's still going to be schools that want to take you, even if you're a pro, and there's going to be leagues out there still. Like, it's not going to change overnight. But as directors, you got to realize how many scholarships are you taking away from kids that could really use it?
It's probably more than you would like to admit, and probably more than we can even think about right here. And I mean, the trickle down is how many students are now unable to attend college because they couldn't get a scholarship for a game they're good at that could get them that opportunity. And now their lives are completely different. I mean, I don't want to sensationalize the whole thing because I don't think that's constructive either on a personal level. But the butterfly effect, if you will, from having a player take up a college roster spot that really they're already in a really good situation. And trust me, it happens elsewhere as well. It's not just in esports. You see this in colleges nationwide.
I mean, can I make a good example?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
Bronny James, not LeBron James. Bronny James has a chance of getting drafted. Period. I'm just gonna say has a chance of getting drafted. Period. Only because his father's LeBron James, and it could pull him to this other team. And if that's not a good example of somebody who doesn't deserve to get that ride, that is taking something from somebody else, Bronny James, tip of the hat to you for working hard, but there's students that definitely deserve that ride way more than you do, are way more deserving, and the only reason why he's really going to get it is because of the fact that his dad worked so hard to make a name for himself, and now his son just has to roll-off effect from it. So I mean, you see that too, where lineage students are like, passed down students, like from generation to generation, where they kind of might get an easier ride because my dad or my mom were able to do something prior to. You see that case as well. So, but like you said, it's not here to beat at the situation. It's more so just to make a highlight to the ideal of these are the things that do happen, and that there are people who then don't get to be a part of the experience, because that's really all that might have been their way to get to college and do something more than gaming. They could have did something way more than gaming. They could have went and became a doctor. They could have went and became a lawyer or an author or whatever. And I know I'm reaching on some of these, but I'm just saying, like, they could have went and done some really cool things that now they really didn't have that experience because they didn't get that partial scholarship, and maybe that was the make it or break it for them.
Yeah, and again, you don't want to sensationalize it because it's not constructive to scream louder than one other side. But I mean, there are definitely consequences. And yeah, I see Philly just mentioned in chat, legacy students was the word you were looking for, JTV. There are consequences to something that seems so inconsequential in the grand scheme of things, especially for colleges at the higher level. You're talking deans, you're talking principals, and the people at the very, very top of that chain that are like, it doesn't seem consequential. But if you have a student that is extremely talented in a game or in a specific field, and they aren't in a situation where they're able to attend a college unless they get some financial aid back from the school, you can see where the issue can come from. And I'm sure there's more than just a few examples of that happening nationwide. The important thing to remember is, especially at the college level, esports is very, very young. So we're still kind of in that storming phase where you're developing things. We're trying to figure out what the norm should be. And to tie it all back to Great Lakes Esports, I mean, that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to set that standard. We're trying to establish the norm where, much like other sports where you look at, college hockey, college basketball, you mentioned Bronny James. LeBron James wouldn't go to the NBA and then come back to NCAA to finish an education. NCAA wouldn't even allow it. They'd laugh at it and be like, there's no way. You can go to college, but there's no way you're competing here. And that's the same kind of mentality we want to have here. We want to match it with what has worked traditionally.
We don't want the mentality of NCAA. I mean, NCAA says things good, NCAA says things bad. We're looking to almost be the governing body of what the collegiate space should look like.
Yep.
I mean, I've been asked to join a board for the national level to help facilitate this growth, and I said I'm fine with joining a board, but what's the agenda? Like, what's the what are you guys like trying to push, right? And they're like, they're okay with professional players. And I was like, well, I can't be on that board. And they're like, well, why? I was like, because I literally, that's my whole staple is I don't want professional players in college. Like, I can't be on your board then. It's just not going to work. I'm going to be the only odd guy out voting no against everything we want to do because you want pros. Like, it's just not going to work. I was like, but if you if you change that agenda, give me that invite again.
Even then, you might be that like little birdie on your shoulder kind of perspective, where maybe you are the one who maybe always seems like the devil's advocate, but maybe you're just trying to bring reasoning to the table. Maybe that's why they want that counterbalance. Because if everybody just agrees, then it's a yes man mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like that's I'm dead serious. It's a yes man mentality. So having that oppositional viewpoint, I think, is a very valid thing to have. And it's not that you're completely opposing. It's you're opposing completely on one specific standard that you want to be upheld. And that's not saying if you go to these meetings, maybe you'll start to see leagues change their tune and say, you know what? Maybe that Brave guy isn't as crazy as we thought. Maybe his out-of-pocket statements aren't as crazy as they may seem. But I'm just saying, you know, it's just one of those things.
And I mean, even to rebuttal on that, it's... Yeah, I could be that one odd man out that eventually changed the narrative within. But to be honest with you, I'd rather do it with the people that I'm surrounded by every single day that are putting in the effort. I'd rather be surrounded by you guys, Joseph, Bub, Billy, all of you guys. I'd rather be surrounded by you guys doing this than be surrounded by other leagues trying to just chip away and be this like hounding voice. I'd rather work with you guys and we eventually become that sanctioning body that's like, no, this is the way it needs to be. And I know it takes some more time and harder work, but I think we're all very like-minded in our approach, that we're not in it for the money. We're in it for the developing and the growth of esports in college, at least. So, you know, that's another reason why it's like, I'd rather work with my team and we get to pave the way. We're not somebody's paving the way and I'm picking up bricks and trying to pave the other way. It's like, no, we're all working in one direction. So, you know, yeah, it's like, I could have done it, but I'd rather work with everyone here. Right? Like, rather work with everyone here. I think everyone here is great. We're all learning, granted. You know, that's one of our other valuable statements is we're very transparent. We are learning. We are not, you know, the bee's knees, the cream of the crop. Like, we are learning. We will stumble, we will fall, we will make mistakes, but we will work as hard as we physically can to always correct those mistakes and make them as best as possible. Like, one of our other things that we will never do is I will never overpromise, or never, whatever it goes. I will never promise you something that I can't follow through on. And we see that a lot in tournaments where they're like, hey, it's a $2,500 prize pool. And then you're not getting paid out for 2 years because they're trying to like scramble the cash together. Like, you know, I won't name names, but we had a sponsor pull out on us for one of our events. You know, who had to fork that out? Well, Great Lakes Esports did. And we made sure it happened. Because we're not going to be all these other companies that either don't pay their staff or don't, you know, we have agreements with our staff. You know,
we're very transparent with that. Just
you know, or we don't pay out our prize poolings. Like, we're not going to do that. We'll never do that. Our bottom line to run everything is always covered. Anything above and beyond is an additional bonus. Like, you know, I'll put a little hint for the people that are actually tuning into this stream. There's a potential that the prize pooling for the LAN championship will be rising. I won't give you a number because I don't want to, you know, promise something and then underdeliver. There is a good likelihood there is a good likelihood that the pricing will go up for this LAN. That's all I'm going to say. If it goes through, it goes through. If not, it doesn't. But there's a good chance, and that just means that more people are going to get a cooler payout. And we're doing a lot of fun stuff. We're doing a lot of cool things. We partner with a lot of different companies to bring you guys a lot more valuable aspects to what we're doing, and to just give you guys a way better time. Like at LAN, like a gaming chair is going to be given away. Some PC stuff's going to be given away. Like I don't know exactly I know there's a gaming chair, 100%, but I don't know everything else. And it's going to be released in our Discord once it all is all finalized. But there's gonna be some cool stuff. So it's like, if you stay the entire day and you participate in the pick your pony or pick your predictions, whatever it's named, there's a chance to win some cool stuff, even if you don't win the tournament. Like, you know, we're adding extra value as much as we can, and trying to be customer obsessed, transparent, and always doing the right thing. We will always make sure that we're doing the right thing. And I'm super excited for the future. I mean, where we've started with it being a free league back in December, and like our first event, we had 15 teams that competed, 15. And we didn't even have enough for 16, so we just had one team with a bye. And now going into finishing that year out, going to Cleary University. Again, Apollo, amazing guy, gave the facility for free. Now we're in year 2. We up the ante with the prizing, we up the ante with the competition. Like, we have all these great teams that are like, nationally ranked. And now we're working with the company that nationally ranks these people because we have a partnership with them. And again, we have a great a great university that's given us the space for free to put on a good show for our colleges that, made it all this way. And I can only imagine what season 3 is going to look like. And I want to be able to express and hype up to people like what I think season 3 is going to be. Is it's going to be an absolute show. Like, it's going to be just great. And I wish that I could talk to every single director and just be like, show my excitement. I mean, I can show it in my face. I can, I got a resting kind of, monotone face, but my voice, it screams that, like, I'm excited. I'm ready. I want it to happen. Like, there's going to be so much more fun, so much more user experience that it's just going to really make it great and make it crazy and make it fun. And
we just need to make a season 3 Brave hype video.
Yeah, like from this podcast, just pull snippets of me and just like completely change the words I'm saying, where it's like, those like mixtapes of what they're saying. It's like, season 3 gonna
do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm super excited and I'm stoked, and I could not be more happy with the members that we have competing. They're great, they're awesome, they don't cause us a headache. So kudos to all the schools that do participate and compete. You guys are great. Without y'all, we're nothing.
I was just about to say that.
We want to keep our pricings competitive and low for you, because you are the reason why we can do something that we do every single day, and you're the reason why I can have headaches every single day talking to the staff and finding ways that we can improve, do better, make things happen better. And then also on the flip side, like the pure joy, the pure excitement it brings me, and the inspiration it brings me to be a competitor, and now being somebody that can bring a really cool, fun experience, and doing it with the people that are going to be alongside me throughout the way, the entire staff that we have. And it's just been an absolute joy. And season 3 is right around the corner after this May 4th LAN, Indiana Institute of Technology. I don't know the address. Bub does. I just punched into my GPS, and that's how I get
East
there.
Washington Boulevard.
There you go.
I go there every day.
Better be there. We better see you there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it there. Come on out May 4th to our LAN. You're going to want to be a part of it. You're going to want to be in the action. There's going to be some fun giveaways. You're going to want to pick your pony and hope that it rides your way to victory. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am Joseph the Voice, hanging out with Braave and Bub, and this is episode 5 of Lake Talk. I hope all of you have a wonderful night.
Bye-bye.